Hello everybody, Gregg with Sueur, online tennis instruction. Welcome to the third and final part of the serve case study. And in this final part, I'm going to show you how you're going to put it all together. Now, often we'll see a common problem with a lot of players is they actually start really high and then they have the all down together, up together, but they end up swinging the racket back too far. And we saw this with Sean, where the racket went back too far, making it very difficult and sometimes even impossible to then complete the right to left. Instead, the racket continues to go back and we find that these players getting back into this weighted straight position. So the key is you've got to change the starting position when you put it all together. All right, let's take a look at Sean's serve now at the end of the clinic, and we'll see how she's changed her starting position, and now she's doing a great job. She gets that racket tip to the right. She's now bending from the elbow. The racket moves over the head with the strings angled slightly down. Gets to an excellent racket drop, and now she's able to lead with the edge of the racket up to contact and pronate. Now let's show you the steps that we went through to help her with that. And if you go back and look at her original serve, she started really high and she swung the racket back, and the racket tip pointed towards the back fence and the racket opened. And if she had to start the same way, she would go back to what she was doing previously. So it brings me back to what we worked on. So I actually got this when I was working with a young guy, Alex. He's playing the Futures and Challengers Tour, and he was having issues with his serve. Number one, he was kind of fanning the racket with the strings pointing up, causing his shoulder to tighten, losing a lot of racket speed, but also he was unable to feel his elbow. So what I had him do to help close the racket was have him think of the racket strings pointing slightly up in the beginning. We had the bend in the front of the wrist. And you notice how the racket tip's actually pointing a little bit to the left across my body. So if I turn this way, you can see that. Now, he tried that, but he still wasn't feeling the elbow. And he noticed something on my serve. Notice how my elbow is slightly away where his elbow was in. So he made a little adjustment. And something I learned from Alex. He's had the elbow out. Now be careful, you want to make sure that when you do this, the shoulder's still loose and so is the elbow. You can do it where you're really tight, and that's something you don't want to do, right? But from this position, you can get your weight back. He was able to get his weight back, turn away from the target and draw the elbow back. You could feel the elbow in this position, which then allowed him to bend the elbow. And by putting the two things together, it was allowing him to then close the racket when you completed his right to left. Now be very careful when you do this. As mentioned, you don't want to be tight in your shoulder, your elbow when you're in this position, be nice and loose. But when you draw the elbow back, very, very important, you don't want to pull the elbow past the shoulder. If you do this, if you break the plane, you put a lot of stress on the shoulder, you can hyperextend the joint, which can lead to injury, so be very careful. You just want to draw it back enough where you get this nice alignment here, but you haven't drawn it too far back where you've broken the plane. Very, very important when you do that. All right, so with Sean, what we did is we had to do a lot of shadow swings first, where we had to start in this position, elbow out, relax the shoulder, racket tip across the body slightly, weight back, draw the elbow back, and we had to do that over and over. Then we had to toss the ball. Then we had to draw the elbow back, then bend from the elbow and go through the rest of her swing. She did it over and over. Then when it was time to add the ball, we broke it up into progressions. Now you can also do this inside the court. So you take the outcome of the equation, you can do this up against the back fence, up against a wall. You don't worry about where the ball's going. First thing we had to do, we had to toss the ball and then draw the elbow back, getting into this position. So this was step one. And once she could do that over and over, we moved to step two, where she then would bend from the elbow without hitting the ball. So she would toss the ball, draw the elbow back, bend the elbow, get into that nice racket drop. She would do this over and over. Right? Once she could feel it, then we had to hit the ball. Draw the elbow back, bend the elbow. And you may find yourself needing to do 2 to 3 shadow swings between every hit. But those are the sequence of drills we went through to help her put the whole thing together. Now it's very important to remember Sean made some huge changes to her serve, and for it to be lasting and effective, it's going to take a lot of practice and repetition going through these drills, putting them together so she can build that muscle memory so it becomes automatic, so she can have those fundamentals to develop her serve into a powerful and consistent weapon. So thank you so much for watching. Look forward to seeing your comments and questions below, and all the best on your practice sessions out the court.